Hey guys, how doing? Shaw here. A lot of you have probably seen this fight already. It's Buakaw versus Andre Dida. I just thought it'd be a fun one to look at, and it really shows you what experience and being able to stay calm under fire, what that can do for you. Um, let's just get into it. Let's turn that down. Okay, so Andre Dida, I think this was his third kickboxing fight, or he'd had three fights before. I think this is his third one, but he'd had about 10 MMA fights, so his striking was just a little bit unorthodox. Um, Buakaw, obviously, at this time he was two-time K1 champion. He probably 300 fights or so into his career. Um, yeah, so he's obviously a lot more polished than Dida. But that doesn't mean to say that Dida's not going to have his moments. You'll see. See, he's just a little bit unorthodox, Dida. Buakaw was a bit of a slow starter in those days. So yeah, you could catch him cold a little bit sometimes. Okay, ready? Bang. See how that shot happened? Watch Andre Dida's feet. So Buakaw thought that he would just, get out of the way of the shot. But because Dida throws it and jumps at the same time, he covers more distance. That's something that most coaches will coach out of you. But because Dida's still got that bit of wildness, and he's pretty, inexperienced there. Like 13 fights maximum into his career. Between MMA and kickboxing. Um, he still wasn't polished, and that he's still wild. Now you can see here, he's trying to finish Buakaw off using a load of energy. And he's tagging him. Um, See, it's just, but it's all the same kind of shot. It's all from the right side. He's not bringing in it. Well, I mean that left hook got him. Um, but yeah, you can see he's using a load of energy, and other than like just trying to catch him at the end of shots, he's not setting up his stuff at all. He's not getting in range of his feet properly. And there's no variation. I feel like if he'd have thrown a couple of leg kicks, he'd have had more success. Um, just even just one or two leg kicks could have changed it a little bit. But you can see he's just out of range. He's not getting in with his feet first, so he's just swinging like these big overhands and big hooks, and they're not connecting because now Buakaw can kind of read the range a little bit. Yeah, all he had to do would have been to get his feet into range. Because Buakaw was in a bad state there. When Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather, I was kind of expecting this kind of thing to happen where Conor would blow out, land some powerful shots and have some early success because, you know, Floyd would have been boxing with boxers. Conor would have been boxing with boxers in training. But Conor's an MMA fighter, so Floyd really should have brought in someone from an MMA background that could box, so that he could get used to their range because it is different. And this is what I think happened with Buakaw. He's at this time he was fighting like Albert Kraus and Andy Sauer, Masato Sato, all those kind of guys, and just because this guy threw like a bit of an unorthodox shot, it got him. I mean, that really is a shot that most coaches would get out of you. Like they wouldn't, the coach's movement out of you. It's nothing wrong with the upper body, but the fact that he jumps in with both feet like that, if he had have missed, he'd have been like in a bit of danger himself. But look, okay, watch his right leg. You see, so he jumps and lands pretty much square in front of where Buakaw was standing. Just caught him right on the end of the chin. And Buakaw got back up, and Dida got that momentum. But yeah, I think everything that he threw. If you watch this round back yourself, you'll see Dida doesn't get his feet into range at all. Yeah, lets himself down a little bit by doing that, and because he shocked the world with that shot, but he really could have, he really could have made a huge impact if he'd have finished Buakaw. He really was the man to beat. I think he won the 2003 and 2005 K1 titles. I might have the years wrong, but then there were a few years. But Buakaw was always still seen as being the top guy. There's a little documentary where it shows you when Buakaw lost to Sato got KO'd by Sato, and everyone else in the back will start cheering, all the other fighters, because no one really wanted to fight him. So now you can see Buakaw, he's had that time to go back to his corner, and you can kind of see his game plan now. He's walking forward, and keeping his hands tight and just working the body. See. So he's trying to suck the energy out of Dida, which is what happens with body shots. You get hit a few times to the body, it disturbs your breathing, and you just can't, it really attacks your energy. And these knees are having an effect. And because he's walking him down like that, Dida, it's difficult to fight on your back foot anyway. But now Dida can't get that power into his shots. Yeah, I mean, Buakaw sort of knows how to do it now. You go, that first round, definitely a 10-8 to Dida, and this is shaping up to be a 10-9 to Buakaw. That knee is fantastic, right on top of the liver. Yeah, see, Buakaw's got his coordination and everything. He's got his feet underneath him now, and it's looking it's looking like a really different fight now. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, Dida doesn't really have a defence to the clinch either. I think K1 at this time was a 3-second clinch or limited clinch. Of course, when Buakaw first came in, they had clinch, but he walked in, he just walked through the competition and beat everybody. That's why Buakaw was the first Thai to do well in the GPs, even though on the stadium level Buakaw didn't do as well as a lot of people think he did. He was never Lumpini or Rajadamnern champion. He had the Omno Stadium title, but that's not seen as as prestigious as the others. But yeah, then he came to fight foreigners, and he just did, but it speaks for itself now. He's one of the best guys to ever do it. You can see how those, yeah, I mean, a bit desperate by Dida. I think that's a little bit of, when things like that happen, it's just a lack of belief is starting to hit them. So you go 10-8 for Dida in the first round and a 10-9 for Buakaw in the second. It's a 3-round fight. So, yeah, Dida's still having his moments, but you can see he's just not having the same effect. You'll see as well, more in the first round than you'll probably see for the rest of the fight now. But Buakaw's way of defending the uppercuts that Dida throws too, because Buakaw's pushing him back with the extended guard. I hope there's an example of it in the next round. I've actually recorded this video already, but there's a problem with my OBS. So yeah, I can't remember. But when you watch Buakaw defend, he uses his extended guard a lot. And then when he sees an uppercut coming, he'll just put his hand there to block it. And it works really well. And like the counter to this defense is to get an uppercut through here, or one of the counters to it is to get the uppercut through the middle. But then, when you got the ability to see that coming, you just bring your hand across there. You kind of did it there. Look, just put his hand in the way. Imagine Dida's corner have been screaming, "You only need to win this round." Yeah, because on the scorecards, Buakaw's still playing catch up here. Yeah, when fighters get the momentum going, like fighters like Buakaw or what Dida did to Buakaw in the first round, it's like an avalanche. It's like it's difficult to stop it in their tracks once they're going. Oof. I mean, Buakaw's clinch is so effective. In those knees to the body. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I mean, look at how tiring they must be. Dida's really breathing now, and he's really starting to lose belief. But when you're actually fighting, you can kind of pick up on your opponent's energy, and I think Buakaw knows that Dida's defeated here, even though he's still throwing back. It's almost like he's gone through the motions of throwing back. So you see this bit of clinching from Dida here. Got one hand on Buakaw's shoulder and one hand on his back. He's better off either choosing to go around his lower back and pulling him in, or across his shoulders with both hands and pulling him in there. If he goes across the shoulders, he's still in danger with knees coming in. If Buakaw can get his hips back, he can still knee. If he gets him around the waist, in a Muay Thai fight, he'd have to be wary with the elbows, so he'd have to put his head close to his head so that he can't get elbowed. And the other thing to be aware of, whether your hands are, well, no matter where they are, is obviously when you clinch, your feet come out of like fighting stance like this, and you kind of go underneath your shoulders. It's just better to balance that way. But it's important that if you're going to lock them up around their waist or their shoulders, that your feet are on the outside of theirs. If not, I mean, there are times when, whatever, there's exceptions to it, but in general, like speaking to beginners really, if you have your legs on the outside of theirs, you can turn them. Like, you can flip them over you can, you can kind of pull them over your knee, kind of. It just can't be a toss, or else it's a foul. But if they've got their legs on the outside of yours and you're holding them here, they can just toss you as well. So, yeah, when you're clinching, just bear that in mind. I mean, you got to think, if Buakaw had have panicked or started to, fight fire with fire in that first round, when he was still hurt, he could have got finished. But it's incredibly tough, and like here he's in insane shape. His cardio is unbelievable, so that allows him to recover, but also being able to stay calm. Like, he knows that he can catch up. That happened in the first round. He knows he's got the rest of the fight to try and catch him. But I think Dida, he kind of did what you should do against someone like Buakaw, and that's not be scared of them, and you go in with your own weapons. Like, okay, let's go. It's just a shame that he couldn't follow it up with, he was wild and he caught him with that shot, but then he couldn't follow that up with a bit more technique. He couldn't be more disciplined when he needed to be. If he'd have been able to get his feet into range and then throw his shots, I really feel like, he really could have finished Buakaw, or even mixed it up with a few low kicks here and there. But there was lack of variation in his arsenal, really, and yeah, like I said, his technique just wasn't where it needed to be. But still, I mean, what an achievement for him at this stage of his career. I'm just going to put this forward a little bit. Okay, so K1 days, if there was a draw if it was even after 3 rounds, they had to go into a fourth, and I think even a fifth, if that next one was a draw. I think Buakaw had to fight 5 rounds again. I think it was Andy Sauer. It was either Andy Sauer or Masato, or it could have even been Albert Kraus. Something to understand is that Thailand at this time didn't bring much money into K1 at all, whereas Japan and Holland and wherever, their top guys are bringing money into them. So it didn't do K1 too well to have, a Thai champion. It's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but there were a lot of times when, you could watch Buakaw fight in K1 and it'd either be a draw or he did get robbed too. So after 3 rounds, have had a slightly longer recovery, and they know that it's like sudden death. So it's like, okay, both need to go for it, and see who does the best out of this round. Yeah, I think when Buakaw fought Masato in one of the K1 finals, I'm sure that he had to fight him 2 extra rounds. And he shouldn't have. I thought that he'd won after 3. But yeah, Buakaw was always really, really fit. I think the exception to maybe him having a problem with his cardio was when he got stopped by Sato. You can see as this is going on that Dida's just losing a bit of, he's losing focus and he's lost belief that he's going to beat him now. So he's starting to look desperate. He's still going through the motions of fighting though. He's still got the warrior spirit. It's starting to show now that in what's going on in his mind. See, he's unable to lock him down in a clinch. So I'll just put that back just for a second. If he could just bring his hands together here. See, so if he could just bring his hands together here and lock them, he'd be able to neutralise Buakaw. As it is, Buakaw is still able to draw his hits back and then throw a few knees. This is K1, so everything scores, but everything that lands scores equally. So yeah, it's a shame for him in that way that he's lack of technique and just lack of experience has let him down a little bit. But like I've said already, what a great achievement. He's taken Buakaw to do an extra round, dropped him in the first round, and he's 3 kickboxing fights into his career. I did see Dida fight K1 again after this. I saw it live in Pattaya. I think it was 2000, maybe 14 or 15. But he didn't really. I was expecting him to have had an extensive career after this, but he didn't really. Not that I can see anyway. Okay, so I just yellow carded him. Yeah. He knows that he's done now. He's got 30 seconds left. But, he's choosing to go out like a warrior and, not just give up. Yeah. I mean, Buakaw looks like he's having fun now. So you should always, if you're going to fight, it's always worth, now and again, not every time, but to be, doing like your extra pad rounds. If you know, if your fight's going to be 3 or 5 rounds, try and do 4 or 6 rounds. You know, just so you do have that extra conditioning. I mean, at this stage, Buakaw was, you know, the top dog, and you can guarantee he was still doing all of his road work. He was still running, hitting his pads, doing his sparring, and clinching. And that's the only way that he got to where he is. You know, he's not any more talented than other people, really. But it's something that people, you know, they might have some early success in their fights, might have a couple of wins, and then they kind of think that they're above where they are. But you still need to be as persistent, and you know, you have to be pushing with your training all the time. So yeah, Buakaw takes that. Yeah, I enjoyed that fight. I think it's a good one to watch, and you know, you can learn both, yeah, from both of those guys. Like, there's nothing wrong with mixing it up and, you know, throwing out the odd wild shot, but you need to be able to follow it up with good technique and discipline. If you do get tagged, you know, you have to settle down, relax. It's okay, don't panic, and you've still got the rest of the fight to you know, catch up. But you're much better off recovering. You know, taking an 8 count's a good idea sometimes. You know, instead of, you know, jumping straight back up and being off balance and stuff. Take the 8 count, take a breather, and come back out with your guard up, and you know, you can recover. But yeah, if you've got any fights that you want me to react to, maybe even your own fights or training videos, I've got my socials in the description, and I've replied to pretty much every comment. So yeah, let's see you soon, guys.